All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, my name is Heidi Foy. I'm going to try to get us pulled up on Facebook so I can see if y'all are asking me any questions here. This is always the awkward part. Sorry about that. Um, I'm super excited to be back with you guys. I feel like a month goes by in between every Monday that we do this because I'm trying to fit all the things in before my kids go back to school, which I also am really excited about the fact that they get to go back to school because I know some of us are dealing with the homeschool thing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. So I'm excited to be back today. We have Mr. Luke Branquinho, and it has not gone past me the fact that I have only had like a majority of steer wrestlers on. Um, I don't listen. I am not. I know that I am very heavy leaning towards steer wrestling. My brother was a steer wrestler. My dad was a steer wrestler. Um, I I tried when I was in high school to ground dog. It didn't really work out for me. Um, but like it's just my favorite event at this point. So I can't like I know this. I'm working on getting other events represented. So don't start sending me hate mail just yet. Thank you guys again. Anyways, so I'm real excited about today's interview, clearly, but there's so many ties. We were just talking about this off camera. Rodeo is a really big, small world. Luke, you went to college at the same college that my brother went to. I think you guys just missed each other. We talked about, but one of the biggest small worlds that you'll ever be involved in. There's definitely not 5 degrees of separation by any means for anybody. Maybe closer to 2 or 3, but I'm really excited to have you on. And so, if you would. I don't know if you have watched any of these. I have basically been stalking you for a really long time, anyways, because I told you earlier I'm like a fan now. Um, so we talk a lot about what college rodeo does. We've done college profiles. We've now started kind of talking to different cowboys and cowgirls that have gone on from college rodeo to do better things, be it in the arena or academically. So clearly, I want to talk to you a little bit about your college rodeo kind of season and what that looked like for you, where you went to school, but then also kind of where you've been since then. We're about the same age, so we don't need to talk about like how long it's been because it's not been that long. But just kind of talk to me about your college rodeo career.
Yeah, I was, fortunate enough. I had a successful high school career and had some colleges kind of wanting me to go there, and I ended up choosing West Hills Community College in Kalinga to rodeo for Bruce Hunt. And the reason, number one reason, it wasn't too far from home, and a lot of people didn't know this about me, but I was homesick. I didn't want to go 2.5 hours from home, so I'm glad I didn't go anywhere out of the state because I don't think it would have lasted very long, and I don't know if my career would have ended up on the path that it was. But I ended up going to West Hills there in Kalinga, and like I said, Bruce Hunt was a rodeo coach and a great rodeo program. He always took care of the athletes, made sure we had the right stock. The ground prep, in any events crucial, and he always made sure the ground was good for us steer wrestlers. But yeah, I mean, just West Hills was a great place for anybody that wanted to hone their rodeo skills.
Yeah, so Bruce was there. Do you know how long Bruce was the coach there? I mean, he was there for uh, many years and touched a lot of different lives. That would be one gentleman that would be a good interview for sure. But so what did you do academically for when you were in school?
As little as possible. As bad as that sounds, I hated school. I hated everything about, other than seeing the friends and the sports in high school, and college was the same. I got through it, but I was only there for one reason, and that was rodeo. And at any clinics or anything I do nowadays, I really preach to the kids to make sure and get an education, because that is one thing that I regret in my life. I don't regret much, and not getting an education, no matter how much I disliked school or anything about it. I wish I would have finished and got an education. Fortunately for me, the rodeo world took care of me and is still, taking care of me. And but that's not the case for a lot of people that do rodeo. So I strongly urge anybody out there, make sure you go and get an education. And you see guys, now that have won world championships that are, graduates of major universities, so I think you can do both. And at the time I was going, I didn't think I could, but there is the opportunity to get both of them done. And even if it misses out on a year or two of rodeoing professionally, I think it's very important to go and finish and get your degree.
Well, so many things that you just said. I mean, obviously, we talk a lot about the opportunities that college rodeo brings to kids that maybe never would have, like, college wasn't even on the drawing board for them, but rodeo really brings them there. And so I don't think you should, I don't think you should blush or anything about like you went to school to rodeo, because there's those situations all across the board. But the other thing you mentioned is that a lot of kids that you're talking to now, and I think that's even more important, you're really pushing that through your clinics and using your platform kind of to push them in that direction. I would also say that something that is really interesting, you might not have really used college rodeo and the college platform to get the academic career, but I would say still that rodeo it still opens those doors for people that maybe it would not have opened otherwise. So I think that's still really a positive thing for a takeaway for this.
Yeah, for sure. With the scholarships that you get from your, district associations or high school rodeo associations, take that and go and better yourself. And then also scholarships from the college or whatever the coaches are willing to give. I think use that money to better your future, not just in rodeo. And that's what college rodeo has done through the NRA, is able, giving people a chance that maybe didn't have the good opportunity or funding to go to college. Is giving them that opportunity, which they may not have had otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about kind of some things that have happened since college rodeo. I know I mentioned when we were off camera that I kind of followed your after your injury, your knee injury, and your comeback. It can be really hard to come back from, especially a knee injury in your event in particular. So talk to me a little bit about that. I mean, I know it's all kind of peaches and cream on this side of it, but maybe talk about some of the difficulties and struggles that you kind of faced when you were going through it.
Yeah, and I think one thing, with my knee surgery last year, it was the third major surgery I've had in 3 years. So it was almost like the final straw. But obviously anybody that rodeos or is around this lifestyle said there is no final straw. You just got to keep grinding it out. And that third injury, major injury, and again lower body, I've never had any surgeries on that, and it was tough, just being able to get around and go to the boys' baseball games or anything like that, walk for that matter. But it was a struggle, and just trying to get my leg back strong like my other one or like it was before. And one thing about knee surgeries is, to me, it's not like a shoulder or anything like that, because it's such a large muscle. It takes that much longer to get it back, and I'm still not struggling, but I'm still working to get it strong again like it was before.
Well, it's almost kind of a blessing. Never thought I'd say that about 2020, but you're kind of able to like ease back into it and not be on the road to as many rodeos to qualify. So it kind of helped you out, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah, it did. And I'm probably more mentally sound and physically sound now than I have been in a while, just because of the winter rodeos are kind of few and far between, even on a year where you didn't have the coronavirus. But the spring, everything got completely shut down, so I was home working, and then the summer was limited schedule, and obviously it affected me as far as getting qualifications and money won without having the spring rodeos. So I'm quite a ways down in the standings, but as far as from a health standpoint, I think it'll just make it that much better for next year once things start getting back to normal.
So I know I'd love to get some information. I mean, I know kind of what the field looks like and what the rodeos look like here in Wyoming. I mean, what does it look like for you guys where you're at?
Oh, California shut down. I don't see them having a rodeo till maybe late spring next year. And depend on what the election brings, not to get political, but we'll see what happens after November 3rd and see where the whole country goes. But we probably, like I said, won't have a rodeo until next spring. at the earliest. And unfortunately for the California Cowboys, that's not great. But
Yeah.
so our schedule's pretty slim out here. We got to travel, out of the state to go anywhere.
So I guess in the alternative, I mean, where are you guys going that maybe you wouldn't have before?
Oh, we went a lot of places that we've never been before. Speaking of Wyoming, we went to Afton, which,
Wow.
yeah, that's what I said. And that's a rodeo I'd go back to. I mean, it's in a beautiful area. Crowd was great. Everything was great about it. And, Sydney, Iowa, Belfouche, North Dakota or South Dakota. I mean, just a lot of places that you hear and you see when you're rodeoing, but you may be going somewhere else because it's not quite as far east, or you're just used to going somewhere else that you've won at, So, and thankfully for all these committees that did stand up and say, hey, we're going to have a rodeo, because if it wasn't for them, you could have PRCA all you want, but if you don't have committees willing to sacrifice and stick their necks out there, you don't have nothing. So, a huge shout out to those committees that did, whatever they had to sacrifice. I know sponsor dollars were slim this year because of the virus and the pandemic and everything going on. So, they had to scrape together funds just to be able to put these events on for us.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that the Las Vegas events just kind of made the announcement that they are looking to, I guess, temporarily rehome the NFR for this year. I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, I know you were kind of involved on the production end of it last year, and kind of probably got a little bit different view of it. What are your thoughts coming into this year?
Yeah, I don't see it being in Vegas unless it's fanless. And, if it is, there's only one venue I think that could hold it. And if you don't know it, then you're not really wise to the rodeo industry, but the South Point. But I know they have other things booked. The World Series of Team Roping is booked out there. So, if Vegas doesn't have it, it'll go to Texas or Oklahoma, in my opinion. And where and I'm sure the dates will stay the same, but where it'll be at is, it's anybody's guess right now.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of changes the whole. I mean, I suppose you're still going for the same thing, you're still competing for the same thing, but it definitely changes the environment and the crowd that you're playing in front of.
Yeah, and I think not so much the crowd, because you're going to get the fans no matter where you have it. That people are going to come. It's the Super Bowl of rodeo. I mean, let's be honest, that's the best of the best, and everybody wants to see world champion crowns. So, but again, you're not going to have that Thomas and Mack feel, that close, intimate relationship with the fans that are right on top of you in that small setup. Even if it goes to, I think the Stockyards there at Fort Worth, small, close arena, but there, you just don't have the fan power that could seat it. And really nowhere is going to have the fan power that can. Dickey's Arena there at Fort Worth, the new one that they had at Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo in last year or this year, I don't know that they're even willing or wanting to accept it. So, and then if they're talking about AT&T Center or there in Dallas or Arlington, where they have the American, but again, that's such a huge stadium, so I do think it's great that Las Vegas events and NFRC are willing to sacrifice and lose a year off, what they've agreed to have the national finals elsewhere to benefit the Cowboys.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're putting the right stakeholders in the forefront for sure. So we're going to get just a little bit personal because that's where all the good stuff is. I remember I asked you and you didn't respond to this. Like, what is one thing that your fans don't know about you?
That's a good question. My wife puts about everything on Instagram. I guess a few fans don't know that I'm a type 1 diabetic and I use an insulin pump, but I mean, that's kind of well known. Something that I just started that most fans don't know is I'm in the meat business now, selling beef. Since this pandemic started and the shortage of beef and the skyrocketing prices, got a buddy in Texas, Jared Moore, and Kara Hutton there in Weatherford and Jacksboro area. They started, butchering cattle, and we started using California cattle and just get them processed and started selling retail. And now we're selling into some restaurants and grocery stores. So, that's something that I never thought I would be doing, but with the downtime, I need to learn to make some money. But it's been a great adventure for me. I've learned a lot, more about cattle other than just throwing them down or raising them as calves and then selling them. I've seen from birth to being eaten. So we have two companies, Gold Star Wagyu and Caltex beef, and then Whitestone Premium beef, which obviously Gold Star is Wagyu, which is the higher end, and then the Whitestone Premium beef is Angus, and it's been going really good. In fact, we just had a meeting the other day with a grocery store that wants to start carrying our stuff. So
very cool. I've noticed. Yeah, there's a real big push here in Wyoming too about kind of locally grown, locally owned as well. So, Josh and I also started to raise some of our own meat, although we have chickens and pork, and then his family owns a ranch. So we also get the good stuff, but I'm not real excited about butchering those chickens, though. I'm not gonna lie. I might have to be gone.
I don't blame you. Right.
So I'm real interested. You got to tell me the backstory on the booty shake. Where did that come from? I have a feeling it came from a dare that maybe you lost or something.
No, actually, it wasn't anything like that. We were in Omaha. I think it was 2004, and the crowd wasn't really getting into the rodeo. They were more waiting for the concert to come, and the announcer and rodeo producer like, you need to do a dance. I don't know if you remember Rooster Reynolds, but Rooster used to throw a steer and do a chicken dance. I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen it. And Rooster's a great guy, but I'd never do anything like that. Well, they kept hounding me for a couple of days, and finally I threw a steer down, and they asked for something. That's the only thing I could think of at that time that would never make them ask for anything again. And it actually totally backfired on me. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I mean, now I don't think you can get away without doing it, can you?
No. I mean, hopefully I'm in Slack everywhere because the Slack announcers don't ever ask for it. But yeah.
That's funny. So let's talk about this homeschool business.
Oh, then we're going to get political, and I don't want to go there.
No, don't get political. Let's talk about kids. Goodness.
Yeah. In my opinion, and from the last week and when we started this distance learning at the end of the school year last year, teachers are the most underpaid profession in the world, period. No discussion. That's it. They need to get paid a hell of a lot more than they get paid now. Because for the simple fact that none of them wanted to kill my kids when they were getting taught is a miracle. So yes, I do agree. Teachers, obviously are underappreciated, underpaid, and deserve a heck of a lot more than what they're getting.
Yeah.
Because of the having to put up with that many kids in one classroom, and now everything they have to do as far as these tablets and iPads and Zoom meetings and internet homework and all that. And
so you guys aren't going back.
Oh, not the state is not going back as of right now.
And no,
unfortunately.
Plans to.
No, they're talking about something, but they're saying they're going to have to health screen every kid and swab every teacher every day, and I don't think that's right. We're not. They're teachers, and they shouldn't have to be doctors as well. And obviously, first number one priority is keeping them safe. So we're kind of in a holding pattern right now with distance learning, and the kids are going to have to deal with me kind of chewing on their butts a little bit about getting their homework done, or actually they're teaching me a lot as far as how to turn on a computer, for that matter.
Well, that's good. Yeah. So we'll be going back, but we've got to wear masks. So the kiddos have to wear masks, which I'm not excited for them. I have my youngest goes to kindergarten this year, and we'll see how that works. Keeping a mask on.
Yeah, especially for a kid that age, it's going to be tough. And I don't know. I mean, like I said, we could talk about masks all we want, but I have one on for 10 minutes. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I'm not getting enough oxygen. But anyhow,
yes,
that's for another.
That's a whole nother story. Yes. Listen, let's talk. I know we're coming up on about 30 minutes, but I'd really like to talk to you a little bit more about your type 1 diabetes. I know this is something that so many things keep popping in my head. So let's do your type 1 diabetes, but I rodeoed with a gentleman in college that also had diabetes, had an insulin pump, and it was something that we were always kind of aware of. He was my traveling partner, so we kind of tackled it together. But nobody knew, like nobody really knew that he had to deal with this, and oftentimes I would forget and not really pay attention either. And so I think the fact that you do bring it to light is really good. It's really helpful. And I think for young kids that are dealing with it, for them to know that like there can be kind of a sense of normalcy along with it is also really cool. So maybe kind of talk a little bit about your journey with that.
Yeah, when I first got diagnosed, I was 17 or 18, and I was actually there at school in West Hills, and I'd had a shoulder surgery, and it was about 5 weeks into that, I started feeling pretty crappy, and ended up having a doctor's appointment, I think, the next week. And I drove home, and it was a scary drive. I'd see multiple cars coming on, and by the time I realized that I needed to go to the doctor, I pulled into the urgent care, and my blood sugar was 980.
Oh my.
Yeah, they said within another 24 hours it probably wouldn't have been very good for me. But anyway, I remember laying there in the hospital bed because they admitted me as soon as they knew, thinking, oh, well, that's the end of this. I'm not going to be able to rodeo. I'm not going to be able to do anything I want to do. And through family and friend support and great doctor, they've helped me realize that it's just, something you'll have to deal with every day, but you'll be able to live a, normal life. And that's something I try to tell no matter who it is I talk to, if they have diabetes or if they have other struggles in their life. It's a road bump you need to get over and keep going. And that's always something I've tried to preach and stress to kids that are diabetic or, other issues that they're having with their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just one thing. You just have to manage it a little bit differently.
Yep. That's for sure. I mean, and it's as simple as, it's not simple, but eating a little bit healthier. You don't have to just be on a strict, meat or a salad, vegetable diet. You could enjoy your life just as long as you're testing your blood and giving yourself the proper insulin dosage you need to cover that, that meal and not overindulge and, things like that not only carry into diabetes, but you could carry that into everyday routines of your life and have a better life if you do.
Yeah, for sure. I know my grandfather had diabetes, and I never really put much thought into it until I had gestational diabetes. And then I was like, holy cow, this isn't easy. I don't like this. But I can see where, just make a couple of minor changes and then monitor a little bit better makes it a lot easier. Yep. So thanks. I appreciate you talking about that. I think everybody kind of carries a torch for something, and I feel like that's a really good one. So I think that's about it. Okay, I have one thing. You and Lindsay did this video, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Oh my gosh. It was awesome. It was so funny. My daughter watched it with me, and that's what she did for the talent show for her school. Of course, it was online, so we could video it, but she watched it and she was like, that's what we can do. And I'm like, that's perfect. It's hilarious. So good video. That's really fun content. I know that it's not in any way, shape, or form related to rodeo, but it's fun. It lets us see the other side. So it was funny. I just want to mention that.
Oh yeah, Lindsay does a great job of letting people see the other side of me, and sometimes I try to give her a growl or a scowl when she does it, but it's amazing how much people don't see the other side of, especially rodeo athletes. So, to have a wife like her that'll share some of our personal lives like that, especially in these times, I think, I don't know how many people said stuff she's done, said I needed to see that today because I was having a crappy day. So to be able to help, put a smile on people's faces is pretty awesome.
Well, and I think too, here I go, I'm gonna talk forever. I think too, like does it feel weird when like you're literally put now on a pedestal and you can impact people's lives, and how you handle that can look so different. So that's got to be a little bit different for you too.
Yeah, and I mean, the way I look at it is I would do the same as I'm doing now, even if I wasn't on a pedestal, not that I even think I'm on one, but
right.
Just you live your life how you want. I have always said you live it like you want to treat other people and have them treat you, and whether you're a world champion or just a a school janitor. It doesn't matter. You live your life, be as happy as you can, treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah, I like that. So I do have a comment. I'm supposed to ask you how hard it is being related to a legend like Tony.
I don't know if I'm related to a Tony. I don't think so. No,
Not ringing a
doesn't ring
bell.
a bell.
Not ringing a bell. Yeah. I'm
I
sure
know
he'll.
there is a guy that's trying to do a trailer deal for me that is dragging his hiney, but I don't know if that's him or not.
That's funny. I know I can always count on some coach popping on here and making some smart comment. So I really appreciate that one. So listen, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you surviving your homeschool day so you can be here with us. I get it. I'm not expecting school to last for very long, so I'm also mentally preparing for my time when my time comes. So I do get it. But listen, I appreciate your time. Everyone that has tuned in. Oh, the older, better looking brother is now.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Still not. Oh, drawing a blank, Tony. Sorry about that. So funny, you guys. So before we go, I want to thank everybody for tuning in live. I want to thank everybody for, if you're going to rewatch this and you have questions, please post them in the comments. Again, I appreciate your time, Luke. And I also want to give a special shout out to Cinch Jeans. They have kind of jumped on board to help me keep going, giving us a little extra kick. And we appreciate their support and appreciate the sponsorship and partnership for sure. Next week, we're going to pop back to University of Wyoming cowgirl, Nikki Steffes, which it's not Nikki Steffes now, it is Nikki Hansen. Talk a little bit about her rodeo career and kind of what she's doing now. And we'll keep on going. We've got another cowboy. We're going to bounce back to Haven because we were kind of missed him last week. And then we have another one on the hook. I'm not going to announce it yet because I don't have confirmation yet, but I'm pretty excited about the future of what this College Rodeo 101 broadcast looks like. So we're just going to keep on going. Luke, I appreciate your time again, and we'll be following you and probably tagging you a lot more now. I feel like I know you now. It's going to
I appreciate everything, and I appreciate what you're doing to, for everything that's going on. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Again, if I get any other questions outside of that strange Tony guy, I will, I'll tag you and see if we can get something else, some other questions answered. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I appreciate your time. Appreciate you guys watching, and we will catch you next Monday.
Thanks.